This report is new in that it's the first report that we've released that looks at how labor markets are faring during the ongoing economic recovery. We're recovering from what has been the largest post-war decline, post-World War II decline in economic activity that we've seen around the world. And it's had a major labor market impact. We're talking about a weak jobs recovery in comparison with the economic recovery that's been taking place in 2010 and 2011. If you look at the global GDP, it's recovered in 2010 above the level that it was at before the global economic crisis hit. The same is true for consumption, the same is true for investment, the same is true for global trade and for some equity markets around the world. But global unemployment is still 27.6 million higher than what it was prior to the onset of the crisis. So we still have a very elevated level of global unemployment, and it's clear that it's been a very weak labor market recovery in many parts of the world. What we're projecting for 2011 is that the job creation that's taking place globally is not sufficient to really make a dent in the level of unemployment that's accumulated during the global economic crisis. We're projecting global unemployment of about 203 million in 2011, which is still elevated in comparison with historical trends. What we had was such a major shock to many economies. You had a doubling or a tripling of unemployment rates in many economies. Such a major shock that it's going to take a long time to revert back. There's also a lot of uncertainty in terms of firms hiring. There still remains a lot of uncertainty in terms of the economic recovery, so that can affect firm decisions going forward. I think it's important to note that were it not for such extraordinary stimulus measures put in place by many governments around the world, the situation would have been much worse than what we've seen. That's very clear. We had 205 million unemployed globally in 2010, but the ILO estimated that the stimulus measures that were put in place by the G20 countries saved or created 21 million jobs. It's clear that increasing employment for youth has to be a global priority. The number of unemployed youth around the world is about 78 million in 2010. That's up significantly from before the onset of the crisis. And young people are far more likely than adults to be unemployed. You see youth unemployment rates that tend to be 3 to 5 times higher than adult unemployment rates, depending on which region of the world you're looking at. And really, investing in youth is, essential. If young people don't get their first job, if they don't get the on-the-job training that they need, get the skills that they need to really move up the ladder, that can have knock-on effects, long-term negative effects in terms of their earnings, in terms of their productive potential, and that can really affect economies in the long run.